I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah, this is brobible.com, or and it's culture. It says air traffic controller tells pilot good luck with the aliens after UFO sighting in Rhode Island. So I'd like to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, your Yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This is your brother Ram Yahawah with the lesson. Yeah. Yeah, that actually even looks like a chariot, It really looks like that picture right there. It's most likely a chariot, you know. We know Esau does a lot of fluffing, you know, AI and all that other stuff. But that looked like that can very well be an actual real chariot from that picture right there. And it says audio from a recent live air traffic control broadcast in Rhode Island has gone viral. Right, so this is legitimate to the point that it went viral during the conversation, and air traffic control tells a pilot good luck with the aliens after he spotted a UFO near his plane. And basically that was basically the pilot supposedly had taken that picture, right? But I know at some point in time they tell you to put away your cell phones and don't turn it on because it could do whatever. But most likely I had to take it from a phone, right? I mean, I guess he could have had a camera or whatever, but most likely it would have to be from a phone, right? So that's why I said you gotta take it with a grain of salt, right? So I mean, it very but that I mean, it says the pilot, and then the pilot flying flying a Piper PA 32RT 300T turbo Lance 2 over Rhode Island. I don't know if that's fast. It must be. They must be saying it that way because it's fast. It's pretty. It's got a decent speed to it, right? That's why they're saying it that way. Um, which may be that. I mean, that's what was happening too, but can be heard telling air traffic control it appears to be standing still. See, and that furthermore makes it be. It's probable it could be a chariot, right? But then at the same time, you got to think too, like, did you use your cell phone? What did you use to take that picture? But hey, you know, um, but this, I mean, we've seen chariots like that. They could stand still, right? They don't have to be moving. They stand right there, stand still. You know what I mean? Nothing like a helicopter, because a helicopter can hover, so to speak, but it makes a hell of a lot of noise hovering, right? And a chariot goes to and fro or stand still without making any noise, right? So it says, yeah, it appears to be standing still. The fact that he was flying at 3,500 feet, and the object appeared not to be approached to anything made the pilot's UFO sighting. Anything makes the pilot's UFO sighting even more bizarre, right? Yeah, yeah. To you, yeah. To you, you're a heathen. You're amazed. You're amazed at the signs of heaven, right? Right. And it says, ruling out the UFO being a drone. So yeah, see, they're saying like this is definitely a UFO sighting, right? Yeah, ruling it out being a drone or a weather balloon. The pilot called the sight astonishing. He compared the object to a silver canister, right? Yeah, see? That makes sense because that's in the scriptures, right? About the chariots being silver. And then, far away, you know, yeah. I mean, it's the only way you can you have to describe it the best way you can, just like how they did in the scriptures, the prophets. The prophets described it the best way they can, you know. It says and said it had just hovering along beside his plane just a few feet away, right? Right. Hey, they're amazed. They're amazed that, hey, man, and maybe this is a legitimate sighting. I don't know, you know. But when it comes to Esau, you just never know, bro. Sometimes they throw things out there just to, just to see what sticks. See if people do this or react a certain way, and it is called government, man. Mind control. They're trying to, you know, they're always looking for data, and that's why they're at their boldest right now because they don't necessarily have to do it. The AI picks up data trillion times fast and over again, picking up data, man. And so basically, all they have to do is come back and investigate or look into the data that it keeps pulling. Because that's what that Palantir is about, right? Which is which was what's it called, a prototype? No, the Hopseer, which was the prototype of this Palantir, right? Because they were already testing it on the Palestinians, and they had been testing that on those Palestinians for years. I mean, you're talking about going back to 2014, you know? Where was I at? So, Canister, do you know what it could? And then he said, do you know what that could be? The pilot told the air traffic control. The air traffic control reported back to the pilot that it did not know what the object was and asked for more details. It was right off our wingtip. Small silver canister, the pilot replied. Right? This is creepy. The air traffic controller responded then after the air controller added, good luck with the aliens, bud. Right? Try to do my white boy. Good luck with the aliens, bud. Naturally, the federal aviation administration. Oh yes, that's what made it. Because you're not supposed to talk like, has not publicly commented on the report of UFO appearing over Rhode Island. Right? Oh, they got it on YouTube, huh? Fair use. You know?
The new Infiniti QX80 and QX60 Sport are dark chromes.
A strange small object that we just flew by, a small silver canister. Do you know what that could be?
49 Kilo, we've had no reports in that area. What altitude and directions to heading?
It appears to be standing still. I'm at 3,500 feet. It was right off our wingtip. Small silver canister.
Roger, thanks. Do you think it's a drone or is it like a balloon type?
I saw nothing attached to it. It was sort of hovering there. It was astonishing. I don't know what it was.
Creepy.
I want to believe.
Chrono 402, contact approach on 125.75.
25.75, 402. Good luck with the aliens.
84, visual approach on main Pacific Southern Tower.
Here for vision 23 over tower, 6342.
Yeah. Positive 3, sir, Papa, I'll get the 0 suppression traffic. You're following 6 mile left base up here at U175, showing turbulence.
Following the E175, keep looking for the traffic, 5030 Papa.
So yeah, that's basically it right there. Saying do some good luck with the aliens, and I guess that went viral. Right. Yeah, this is Zechariah chapter 6 and verse 1. Zechariah chapter 6 verse 1. It says four chariots, which the chariots are the vehicles of the Most High, right? Chariots of Israel, right, which are the angels. And it says, and I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked. You know, I should, let me see, let me try to light it up. Maybe that kind of helps. Yeah, you can see it a little bit better. my eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots, right, which are vehicles of Israel, which comes from the Most High, which are the angels, right? 4 chariots out from between 2 mountains, right? And these mountains are also chariots, right? Vehicles of the Most High. And it says, and the mountains were mountains of brass. And this one says of bronze, right? And these are just, the prophets, right? And I like that it did that, even though it's the same verse, but they gave you 2 different contrasts of between brass and bronze, right? Because there is a difference between brass and bronze. But you have to understand that the prophets were giving their point of view at the time, and what came to mind at that time. And you, as a person, if you were, if you had the spirit, or you had the privilege of being a prophet, right? I mean, you may say bronze, or you may say brass. It depends on who you are, right? Or you could say gold, right? Yeah. So I'm coming here, right? And I asked, the brass versus bronze, right? Because it is a slight difference. They kind of look the same, but then there's a slight difference. But just saying, I like that it's that way, because from a person's perspective, or things that they look at, or whatever, it can be from any perspective, as far as the color, or this and that. And it's crazy that the guy said a silver canister, because he could have said a silver coin, right? It looks like a silver dollar, right? He could. It looks like whatever. But just he's looking at it from, he's like, this thing's look, and he's giving it from his thing. And so you, as a person, and then you're supposed to break that down and see. And then he said it was standing still, it wasn't moving. So as he's at 3,500, I think you're even still climbing, and you're moving. And he's like, this thing is like right next to me, but it was like it was not moving. Right? So it says brass, an alloy of copper and zinc, known for its bright gold color. See? And they're showing you. So you could very well even said gold. It could have been gold there instead of brass. So very well the chariots could be silver, right? They're gold, silver, brass, bronze. They're all different colors, right? It says malleable and useful in musical instruments and fixtures, while brass, right, is an alloy of copper and tin, right? See, so they both have the copper, and that's kind of probably why they look alike, but then it's slightly different, right? Tin typically harder, stronger, more corrosive resistant, and used for sculptures, bearing, and marine hardware, right? Water stuff like water spigots and all that other stuff, you know, when your sink and all that other stuff, you know. Often developing and caricature pattern over time. Main difference lies in the primary additive zinc from brass, tin to from bronze, right? And that's the different completely. That's what makes it completely different from brass. Generally more durable, but more expensive, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the brass is more durable, but then it's more expensive because of the durability, and then it doesn't corrode, right? So you could use it with the water, different water things, and it won't corrode, because if you try to use brass, it'll start corroding. That's why it's better for instruments and the way it sounds and the way you have to clean it and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. But you could very well say it was gold. So it definitely could be silver, right? Yeah. And then he said something about it being small, right? It says, this is Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. A flying roll. So if you ever seen a roll is not particularly big, right? You know? So, and he said unto me, what seest thus? And I answered, I see a flying roll, right? The length thereof are 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits, which is you know, still a decent size, right? If you think of the cubics, but it's small because, you know, of where he's looking at it, you know, the way he's looking at it. And that's what came to his mind and the way to break it down. It's like a flying roll, right? And this dude said a canister, which could have been, you know, he could have said it anyway. He could have said it was tin or aluminum. I don't know. It gave off an aluminum look, right? Silver or aluminum look from the shine, right? Just like he had the brass and bronze, right? It's like the brass and the bronze. So like I said, I like that they kind of did it that way. But just showing you the prophets gave it to you so that way there's other people who can break it down, or they're the ones who came back in their lot, and now they're breaking it down. They know more now than they did in the time when they wrote those things, right? And they're reading what they wrote, but not knowing it's them, and they're breaking it down. They're out there on the highways and the byways doing digital epistles, and basically breaking this down unto you, right? So, yeah. So then he said unto me, this is the curse, right? Which is the chariots, because we know that rolls don't fly, right? So what was he looking at? The chariots of Israel, what they call UAPs, UFOs, right? This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth for every one that stealeth, right? Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed so-called white man, stolen entire nations, continents, the world. Let's just stole the world, bro. Right? And then you're charging the world and turning everything into debt, right? Right? Forcing the hand, right? Changing the trading and this and that and the markets, right? So, hey, it is what it is. It says, then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth, right? And that's what you do. You go into your courtrooms, you swear, you make oaths, hypocritical oaths, hypocritical, right? You're supposed to be hypocritical, but you make it hypocritical, right? Because you pass these treaties and this and that, and then you break them. You're even your own laws. You break them to suit your greed and your benefit, right? So, hey, you're gonna have to be cut off. Shall be cut off as on that side according to it. So basically, if you run this way, you get cut off. You run that way, you're gonna get cut off. Because either way it go, you're set up for destruction, right? For I will bring it forth, saith Yahawah of hosts, which mean armies, right? An army ain't to just play around with. It tells you in the scriptures that the Lord is a man of war. So what do you think he's bringing to this place, right? That's why the Lord said, think not I come to bring peace, but a sword, right? The Lord ain't finna play games. And it shall enter into the house of the thief. Ooh. And who's the thief? Right? The devil that goes around as a roaring lion, taking over the entire world, seeking whom he may devour, trying to steal the Venezuela's oil in Baghdad, oil in Tehran, and wherever else you want to go into, right? You're trying to continue to cripple the whole world, and then nothing happens to you ever, right? But judgment is coming, right? So to enter into the house of the thief and into the house of him that sweareth. Oh, there you go. You steal, you swear. So no, there's no way for you to run falsely by my name. You say you're a Christian. You say you have morals, you have standards, and then you don't have any morals or any standards according to the Bible, right? It says, and it shall remain in the midst of his house and shall consume it. Woo. Right? Yeah. With the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Yeah, because America's going to be a desert. Everything that you see is going to be wiped completely out. So there's the line of confusion, right, will no longer be there. You won't be able to tell where one state border ends and the other. You won't have any signs or walls or monuments or some type of statues or anything to determine, oh well, this was Vermont and this was Michigan, this was, you know, Colorado or whatever, you know. Yeah, so I'm gonna finish this up. Zechariah chapter 6 verse 2, right? Because it's basically coming out the four chariots that came out from between the flying chariots, the flying mountains, chariots. And says, in the first chariot were red horses, and the second chariot were black horses. See, showing that they have the different color contrast, right? And the third chariot, white horses, and the fourth chariot, grizzle and bay horses, right? Which I believe, yeah, if you go into that, that's even further in different colors that it can come in, right? And you go into that grizzle. Matter of fact, let's go into that. Here I am. This is the blue letter. Zechariah 6:3. Transliterate. Go down over here. Grizzle.
Strong's H1261. Barod. Barod.
Barod. Barod. Right. Spot. Marked. Grizzled. Barod. Right. Didn't give you much, but go into this.
Strong's H1258. Barad.
Barad, yeah.
Barad.
Barad. Barad. Barad. Heal. Hell. Yeah, hell, it didn't give me that. Okay. Let's see if we can go out to Bay.
Strong's H554. Amotes. Amotes.
Yeah. Amotes. Strong, Bay, Dapper, and let's see, Pet, Piebald, Piebald of color. So let's go into that. I think that's the one I was thinking of. Piebald in color. Right. See? It's two different colors. So it could be the same thing, but it have like a piebald of a horse having irregular patterns of two colors, typically black and white, but it could go into, whatever color. Spotted, yeah.
Speckled.
Speckled, right? Because that's what the Lord said. The Israel's a speckled bird, right? So the chariots can come speckled, right? Multicolored, right? So him saying a silver canister is not a far-fetched thing, right? If you could see a flying roll, I mean, you know. Yeah, finish this up. Zechariah chapter 6, verse 4. Then I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me, what are these, my Lord? And the angel answered me and said unto me, these are the 4 spirits of the heavens that goeth forth from standing before the Lord, right, of Yahawah BaHaSham of all the earth, right? And that's what they're going to be doing. That's what these angels, right? These chariots are set forth to do, to go through the whole entire earth, right? To be before the Lord. And you know, when you see skirmishes and things, these are the angels that put the spirit in the land for certain things to happen, right? Because they're actually holding back the nuclear winds. This is what push forth the prophecies that goes forth, right? These angels are always constantly moving, holding back the 4 winds, holding back the nuclear destruction until the time that it must be at a particular time, right? So the black horse, which are therein goeth forth in the north country, and the white horse goeth forth after them, and the grizzle goeth forth towards the south country, right? And the bay, right? Because earlier it named grizzle and bay together as if it was just one thing, right? But there must be two different chariots, right? So that would be 4, right? Because they gave it. There's the black. There's the white. The grizzle. And then the bay. And then there's a red horse. And that red horse must be doing something different too. Something else too. Right? Because then that's 4 right there. Right? It says, and the bay went forth and sought to go that they might walk to and fro, right? And you know, this, like the dude was saying, he was 3,500 feet in the air. So to the angels, to the what they call UFOs or UAPs, to the angels, to the chariots of the Most High, it's like they're walking. That's why dude was like, oh, then it's like it's standing still. It's nothing to the Most High, right? What you call UFO, UAP, oh my, it's a thing. Let's just chalk it up like it's nothing. No, these are the chariots of the Most High. These are the chariots of Israel, right? They're just walking to and fro through the earth. And he said, "Get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth." So they walked to and fro through the earth. And then he cried unto me and spake with me, saying, behold, these are that these that are going towards the north country have quiet the spirit in the north country, right? Which basically meaning Russia, right? Or the Meeks. But there's going to be a time that those angels, those spirits, are going to stir up the Medes. And when the word of Yahawah, right now it's all caps, Yahawah came unto me saying, right? Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 7, verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, right? Having the seal of the living power, the Most High Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. And he cried with a loud voice to the what? The four angels, right? Those four chariots. To whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So they're going to and fro. And they're ready. They're just, you know, the eyes of the Lord upon the sinful kingdom. Right? Right? Those are the eyes of the Lord. Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, right? BaHaSham, QaDash, power in their foreheads, right? And it just said that the angel, that chariot, went towards the north country to quiet it. And that's to quiet this the spirit of the Medes, which is Russia, to shoot these arrows, right? Which are hypersonic and nuclear powered ICBMs, right? Yeah, so this is 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 9. And it came to pass when they were gone over, and Elijah asked Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray, which basically means I beg you, right? Thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me, right? That's beautiful, right? And he's pretty much says, yeah, plead, yeah, plead. You beg, you plead. He plead, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me, right? And then it says, and he said, thou hast asked a hard thing, right? It's a difficult thing. Nevertheless, and then one says, however, if you see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so that you shall see me when I'm taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee, or unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. Right? And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared what? A chariot of fire and horses, right? So actually a chariot can be fire too. That's one thing they haven't seen either, right? I believe the brother GMS Phoenix Quanawaf, he's seen the chariot of fire. And he was telling us And man, he showed a picture too. Like you can kind of see it, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do it justice. Like actually seeing it in front of you, like man. And yeah. So and horses, like I said, horse represents power. Horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. Right, laser technology, or like some type of force field technology. He was able to force field and basically beam them up, showing you where they got that beam me up Scotty from. Star Trek. Got it from the scriptures, and it parted them asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind, which is another way of saying a chariot. So sometimes when you see whirlwind, it's speaking of a chariot, which you common folk call UAPs or UFOs, unto heaven, right? Then Elisha, so like saw it, so that means he's gonna get that double portion. He was able to see something miraculous, and because he was able to witness it, means that he was basically of the fold, right? And he saw it and cried, "My father," right? Because he was like his spiritual father. "My father, the chariot of Israel," or Yasharallah, right? The chariot of Yasharallah, and the horsemen thereof, right? The angels, right? Yeah. And he saw him no more, and he took hold on his clothes and rent them into two pieces, right? And let's go into that chariot.
Strong's H7393, Rachev. Strong's H7393, Rachev.
Okay. I hate the way those speak, but hey, whatever. It says a team, right? Chariot. It's a millstone, right? Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. It'd be like a millstone or rides, right? Let's see how they say this.
Chariotry,
right? Chariot, single, upward millstone, right? Because it's gonna crush. It's the curse that goes through the whole earth, right? As riding on lower millstones. Giving you a visual, right? Because most people say it's a disc, right? But if you think about a millstone, sometimes it's like round like that, and then it goes around like that, and it shows you that like the spinning of a millstone, right? And sometimes millstones ain't always sat up like a wheel. Sometimes they're laid down flat, like you would see like a disc, or or a roll, right? A ride, right? A troop, right? Oh yeah, there you go. That's what it is. The angels, troops, riders, horsemen. Yes, represents power. The angels, pair horsemen, men, right? So riding as riders, right? Like a donkey, camel riders, right? Just mount and ride, right? Yep. So mount, and set. Or ride, to ride, be riding, ride, calls to ride, right? Well, we got it. You know, so it's a vehicle, basically. As far as they just didn't say vehicle. So rider, horseback, right? Because it represents power. Yeah, because back then, yeah. Well, they had cars. You like when you had the thing and they had the horses in front of it, what they call a carriage, which is basically a car, right? Courage, yeah. See, courage, carry, right? That's what it is. A carrier, carriage. It's a car, something to carry you in, right? So it's a car. So I don't know whether they just didn't say, oh, what? There it is. In a vehicle, right here. On an animal or in a vehicle. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, I didn't even know I was going to run into it. Because I was like, damn, I was getting... But yeah, a vehicle. See, so these are the vehicles of Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect, the elect, right? Because there will be an elect. You will be a hopeful elect, but your hopefulness is going to turn into reality. But many called and few are chosen, right? But those who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Kwam Yasharallah.